Today's video is all about my best and worst purchases of 2024. Hi and welcome to my channel, I'm McKay. I make videos about practical style tips and small wardrobing. 2024 was definitely my best year as far as purchases went. Overall, I'm very happy with the things that I got, but there were definitely still some misses here and there. I bought 26 things for my normal wardrobe, and that included a mix of new and secondhand things. I got 12 tops, 3 bottoms, 2 dresses, 4 shoes, 3 outerwear, and 2 bags. I'll include a picture of most of them so you can get a sense of the things that I got, but there are a few secondhand things that I just never got around to taking pictures of. Outside of my normal wardrobe, I also got a few other things that I'm not really including in this list, but for reference, it includes 6 miscellaneous items. So that includes pajamas, rain boots, sun protective clothing, and hats. So that was not included in the 26. Now let's get into the best and worst. Starting with one of my best purchases, this was the Reformation Balia dress. This is such a beautiful linen dress, and I remember actually trying this on a couple times before I bought this, which is saying something because I do live very far from the store. Anytime I was even remotely in the area, I would make sure to stop and just see what Reformation had, and I kept being drawn to this dress. And I tried it on a couple times, I think in white, and I liked it, but I just didn't feel like it was the right purchase for me. I didn't really need a white dress, but I loved the cut and I loved everything about the style. And then when I realized one day that they came out with this check print, I jumped on it and I was super excited and I got it. There were a few other girls in the store either trying it on or behind me in line waiting to buy the dress as well. I think they all had the red version, which was a little funny, but I do remember seeing the white and red colorways all over my social media. This is constructed really well. It's such high quality. I love the material it's made of. The construction is great. The sewing is perfect. It has pockets. It has adjustable straps. You don't have to wear a bra with it. It's just perfect. I also like the way it fits, that it sits a little bit higher up on the waist, which is great because I have a longer torso. So I feel like this balances out my proportions a little bit better. I know that the cost per wear on this isn't going to be amazing. I'm not going to wear this all the time, but I know that I'm going to be excited every time summer comes around and I'm going to want to wear it and I'm going to feel great every single time. So this was one of my favorites for sure. Moving on to one of the worst purchases, which was a dress from Doen. I picked up a silk and viscose blend dress during the warehouse sale and I was really excited to try out the brand and to try it on, and I was so underwhelmed. Overall, there were just a ton of quality issues that didn't sit right with me, even though it was on sale, even for the price. It felt like those things weren't an acceptable level of quality. So for starters, the hemline wasn't cut straight. It was kind of wavy in some places. And then there were also some issues with the belt where the belt wasn't cut straight. I even tried to steam it, but that somehow made it worse. And I tried it on and I showed it to my husband and I was just like, oh, what do you think of this new dress? And he immediately noticed that the hemline wasn't cut straight. Aside from that, it just didn't look great, especially with the neckline. There was this ribbon and it looked really thin and just kind of cheap looking. I ultimately decided to reach out to customer service and it was a little bit of back and forth to come to a resolution. At first, they had offered me store credit as like a one-time favor and made it sound like they were going to be doing this favor for me. But I felt like that still wasn't right because there were some sewing issues with it. There were some quality problems. And so after some back and forth, they did ultimately agree to accept a return. So I did send it back and that was great. It was a bit frustrating that I even had to go back and forth with them, that they weren't able to just own up to the mistake. I mean, it is what it is. Ultimately, they were willing to accept the return, but it was just a little bit frustrating and it kind of made me not want to take too many risks with Doen again, even during a warehouse sale. On the other hand, one of the best pieces I got this year was also from Doen, and it was this beautiful silk blouse. This was also bought during the warehouse sale. I bought this at the same time, and this is the Solange top in Tulip Grove. I love how feminine and soft this blouse is. I often go for more structured, clean lines, but there was something just so romantic and beautiful about this top that I was really drawn to. I love the breezy cut with this. I love the Peter Pan collar and the ruffles, and just everything about the fit is so nice, and the details are great. Even the buttons are covered in this beautiful silk fabric. It just looks amazing. It is very sheer, but I do think it's still work appropriate if you just wear like a nude cami underneath or a white cami, whatever. And it still looks great. So this I love. I haven't had tons of opportunities to wear it because it is a little bit on the fancier side, but it's so beautiful. So I don't really know with Doen. I ended up really loving one of the pieces and then not liking the other one. So I'm not really sure there. I've heard very mixed things about Doen overall and about changes in quality. So if you've tried them, I would love to know what you think. One thing that was a little bit funny about this is that it has these really, really detailed cuffs, And when it came, there was like a little bit of paper stuck on one of the sides. You can still see a tiny bit of it, possibly. I mean, it's hardly anything, but that's the only thing if I were like really going to nitpick, but otherwise it's absolutely perfect. One of my other favorites is an Aritzia merino wool sweater. It's a really nice, soft cable knit, and I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I do. It's really soft and comfortable like a sweatshirt, but it's a little bit more elevated, and I can wear this out and feel like it's still a proper sweater. So it's just perfect, and I found that I really stopped wearing all of my other gray sweaters because this is just such an upgrade. I've been wearing it like crazy. One of my worst purchases was this black tie top, and I bought this specifically for a Blink-182 concert at the Gorge. I knew it was going to be an incredibly hot day, so I needed something that was breathable, and I wanted something that I could wear again. I didn't have anything like this in my closet, so this is what I ended up going with. And while I do love this style, this was not a good execution at all. This was cut really weird, and it has some very wonky things about it that I didn't realize until it arrived. So the construction is pretty bad, and it just doesn't lay flat. It isn't cut perfectly symmetrically. One side's a little bit longer than the other. Obviously there's some cleavage going on with this top, and so I needed to make sure that I was very secure and that I was like held in and everything stayed placed. And it was really hard to do that because it just wasn't cut right. And so like nothing laid flat. So I was able to get by using fashion tape, and that was fine the first time that I wore it. But the second time I wore it, things started to like kind of shift around, and I didn't feel secure about it. So this was unfortunately a pass, not because of the design, but because of the way it was executed and just poor construction. Even though this was only $16, I only wore it twice, so the cost per wear is pretty bad, and this is definitely a regret of mine. Moving back to my best purchases, I really loved this Zara cropped jacket. I searched everywhere for the right version of this. I searched new and secondhand, and I ended up finding this discontinued jacket on Poshmark, new with tags, and I love it. I really, really love it. Even though it's not 100% wool, it's still very comfortable. It's soft, it's warm, and I just love wearing it. And I love that it has pockets. That was also one of my criteria, is that I wanted it to have pockets, and I really, really have enjoyed wearing this. I haven't seen a ton of jackets like this season. I feel like none of them really checked all of my boxes, and when I found this, I was really excited, and it's been a great buy. So that just shows like not all fast fashion is horrible, especially if you get it secondhand. There can still be some really great pieces. I guess we'll see how it holds up, but so far it's been a really good buy. One of my worst purchases is something that I had actually really been looking forward to, and that was a vintage Burberry trench coat. This is something that I had scoured eBay for, trying to find the right version. I finally did. I found a version that I thought I really liked. It came with a wool lining, and there's no way around it. This was just a horrible purchase. This was easily the worst thing I've bought this year, and it's just because it's simply way too big. It's too big. I hadn't been paying attention to the measurements. That's completely on me. I did take this to my tailor to see if there was any way to salvage it, and we did decide to take up the sleeves and adjust the button placement, but even so, it's just so oversized. I've only worn this 3 times since I bought it in March, so it just has not been a good purchase by any means. The other thing that didn't go well with this is that when I received it, there were several stains on it. There was a missing button. I think there were maybe even a couple of tiny little holes, and those were things that were not disclosed in the listing. So I was really surprised and kind of taken back by that. And I did reach out to the seller. They were not willing to accept a return, and I ended up unfortunately having to escalate it with eBay and open a dispute. That ended up being a little bit messy. eBay was not able to help me return this item because it wasn't part of the seller's policy. So the best they could do is negotiate like a small discount back. And then I took this to the dry cleaners. I got it, cleaned as well as I could. I got one of the buttons moved around. But overall, the whole thing was just such a hassle, and in the end, it still didn't work out. This was definitely a big lesson learned. Another regret of mine is this black leather jacket, and this unfortunately is a lesson that I had to learn the second time. I almost forgot that I even bought this because I haven't worn it a single time. I love the idea of a vintage black leather jacket, but I just feel like I'm wearing someone else's clothes every time I wear it. It just doesn't feel like me. It feels like somebody else, or like I'm playing dress up. So I'm realizing this is actually not part of my style. I like it on other people, I don't like it on myself. I bought a very similar jacket in 2019 or 2020 and I ended up only wearing it a few times, and I kind of attributed that to just being during COVID. I wasn't going out, I didn't have an opportunity to wear it, and that was true. So when I saw this, I figured like, hey, maybe I'll wear this, let me try it again. And I still didn't wear it. So lesson learned, this is just not my style. So I will be either reselling this or donating this back. Another good buy was a pair of straight leg jeans from Reformation. These are amazing. These are the Carry high-rise slouchy straight leg jean, and they're great. I wear these all the time. Even with the option of taking things to the tailor, it's still really hard for me to find a pair of pants that fits my proportions. And I was really excited when I found these because these fit me pretty well. These are super flattering. They're great if you have a slightly smaller waist and wider hips proportionately. These are great because they cinch in at the waist without being too tight on the hips, and they just fall in a really flattering way, and they have a good drape to them. These are super soft and comfortable. I love wearing these. Something else I've learned is that a good pair of jeans can go a really long way. I graduated and went up a size in my jeans, and this is currently the only pair I've been wearing for months at this point. I've been wearing these exclusively, and I haven't felt like I'm missing out on anything. I just haven't felt like there's any rush to go out and replace my other jeans in another size because these have been doing everything that I need them to. I'm sure that I'll go out and get more pants at some point, obviously, but I just haven't been in any kind of rush because these are so good. Another great purchase has been this Madewell woven leather tote bag, and this has really surprised me. This is not a bag that I was planning to buy. Back when I was searching for the perfect pair of jeans, I ended up ordering quite a few pairs to try from different brands. I also accidentally missed the return window to get a full refund back, and I ended up getting stuck with some in-store credit. I ended up taking a look at their site, and I was really drawn to this bag. It kind of reminds me of the Dragon Diffusion bag in some ways. It's obviously a bit different, but I'm so glad that this is what I picked. This has ended up really growing on me and I'm loving it. I typically will just reach for some kind of a canvas tote bag when I'm heading out the door and I need to carry a few things with me. So this is a really nice elevated alternative to have. I've also found that because I have so many cooler tones in my wardrobe that things can start to feel a little bit too icy, too cold. I have a lot of blues and grays, and so having some kind of brown has really helped warm things up. Even though this isn't like a particularly warm shade of brown, still having that traditionally warm color, I think helps add a little bit more depth. Moving on to one of my worst pieces, which was this thrifted black leather bag from Fossil. And I just don't know what I was thinking here, but this was not a good buy for me. It just doesn't really make any sense. I don't know why I bought it. I haven't worn this a single time, and if I'm being honest, I don't see myself wearing it. So this is something that is going to find a new home. When it came down to it, I reached for my thrifted black Coach bag every single time, and I didn't really want to wear anything else. I still love my Coach bag. This bag is definitely going to be decluttered. 2024 was not a great year for in-store thrifting for me, but it's also hard to say that I regret getting a lot of these pieces because it's a really cost-effective and sustainable way to test and learn. So even though a lot of these pieces didn't work out, I tend to have a much higher risk tolerance, if you will, where I'm willing to try things that I'm on the fence about. I'm not too sure about them because it's such a low cost and I can easily redonate them later, as opposed to spending a lot of money on something that I'm not really sure about. This was a pretty good year for purchases. I'm pretty happy with the things I got, so everything else on this list is going to be best of categories. Another favorite was this black mini skirt from And Other Stories. This was such a great purchase. This is the only skirt that I bought this year. It's very flattering and comfortable. It has a little bit of stretch, so it's comfortable to walk in. It's not too short. It's nice and casual, but it can also be dressed up. It just does everything that I need it to. And while it is polyester, that was a very practical decision because it does not wrinkle. I have worn this so many times and I have never once gotten a single wrinkle. It is so good. I have noticed that one of the seams is starting to come undone, and maybe I'm just hard on my clothes, I don't know, but that's an easy fix, so I'm not too bothered about it. I've worn this so many ways. It can be dressed down, I wear it with sneakers, I wear it with boots. It's just a great staple to have, and I really enjoyed getting to wear it this year. The last item of clothing is a pair of white linen pants. These ones are from Aritzia, and they ended up being great for this summer. These are a blend of linen and viscose, and I actually don't mind that there's viscose in here. The way I see it, the viscose makes them more opaque and less prone to wrinkling. I know that they're very wrinkled right now. I'm totally aware of that. They've just been stuffed away for the winter, but when I do wear them, they do wrinkle less than 100% linen pants. The downside of that is that they are a little bit less breathable, but I felt like it was well worth that trade-off for me, so I'm still very happy with them. I also appreciate that they're full-length pants. I noticed that a lot of linen pants are cropped, which I just don't prefer, so I like that these are full-length. They're super versatile, easy to dress up, easy to dress down. Oh, I also like that they have pockets. A lot of linen pants don't have pockets, so it really is the little things for me. And they're a nice high rise, so I appreciate that. Lastly, I had 2 pairs of shoes, which ended up being really great purchases. The first one is these Asics Gel 1130s. These are the white and midnight colorway, and I've gotten so much wear out of these. They're incredibly comfortable and lightweight, and I like that they're sporty without being overly chunky or bulky. They feel very wearable, very approachable, and they're just incredibly comfortable. I was not expecting how comfortable these were gonna be, but I can't take them off. I can't take them off. I was a little surprised, but I've actually been reaching for these over a pair of white leather sneakers, which is usually my go-to. So these really have quickly become a favorite. Of course, we have to talk about the Cezanne Paula Babies. I love these shoes. I was lucky to find these in my size on Poshmark, and they're just so good. Similar to the Reformation dress, this isn't something that I'm going to be wearing all the time. I know that the cost per wear isn't gonna pencil out. It's not gonna be the best, and I'm not gonna wear these daily, but when I do wear them, I love wearing them. I get so excited to wear these and to just see them in my closet waiting for me. These shoes are very me. I have always loved ballet flats. I remember loving them as a kid. I wore them in elementary school. I wore them in middle school. I've just always loved ballet flats. Even a few years ago when everybody was hating on them, everyone was saying that ballet flats were the worst, and I was still undercover loving them all by my lonesome. And I've just finally embraced it. I love them. I'm always going to love them, probably. And I'm gonna keep wearing these and loving them long after the trend has passed. So I'm glad I was able to give these a new home and a new life. There you have it. Those were my 2024 best and worst purchases. I'd love to know in the comments below how your 2024 went and what your best and worst pieces were as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. It really helps my small channel and it helps me know what you enjoy watching. Let me know if you want to see a video about what I learned in 2024 and what my style goals are for 2025. With that, thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!